Hello, everybody. Welcome back to You've Been Josh with Josh. I'm your host, Josh. Episode 24. Wow, that makes 6 if you add them together. You know, every single time we have an episode, I try to think of something funny to say at the beginning because it's like the quip, it's the starter, and every single time it's never funny, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna wing it, and that's what happens every single time. And so here we are. Woo! Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Let's fucking go. I hope everybody has had a fantastic fucking week. I hope your weekend was nice and relaxing, and the start of your week has been going good. And if you're listening to this in the future, I hope life is good. I hope the world is okay up there. I hope Josh hasn't done anything stupid. Hope he's not canceled. Wouldn't want that. Hope you all been doing well. Also, little update on the platinum goal. We're at 169. Nice. 169 platinums, and we're at 73% completion rating. I am pretty sure that we're gonna have to extend the goal. I think we're gonna extend it to like 90% completion, which is gonna be kind of hard. But I think 90% completion, if anything, 85% completion rating, and definitely 250%, 250 platinums, because we're at 169 right now. And it's almost April. It's only the 4th month in. We're only a quarter of the way there. Are you kidding me? We're fucking flying, dude. I'm kicking some ass. It's been a lot of fun though. It's been a lot of fun playing a lot of good indie games. Lots of puzzles. A lot of small. I think the biggest thing, and I've said this time and time again, is the AAA titles and long games are awesome. They're fantastic, but some small games that are like an hour to 4 hours, or even to like 10 hours long, have some of the best stories, the best music, and the best concepts ever, because they can encapsulate it in such a small little package. Size doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But no, we're making our way. And we're doing a good job. We're doing a fucking good job. Shout out to the people who signed up for the HelloFresh sponsorship. I appreciate you very, very much. Sadly, it is over now. You missed it. I'm sorry. But huge congrats to The Crimson, who won the apron. It's kind of ironic. I swear God, it's not rigged. The spin we did it live on stream. He designed the embroidery, the Apple design on the apron. So it suits it well. It suits well that he got it, because he got a piece of his own work. He told me he'd send me a picture of himself butt naked, just in the apron, and I said, please do. But congrats to him, and anyone who had done it, I'll be messaging you soon. I'm sure you've already gotten your message from me about the free gifts and all that jazz. But I hope you enjoyed your boxes, and I thank you for supporting me in that way. It was a delicious way to support, Some updates, the news, the quips, you know what I'm saying? Last week was a great week. We got a lot done. We had a lot of fun. Morning streams have been going fantastic. We've been doing Wordles in the morning. We've been hanging out. Been a little tired lately, but otherwise I'm doing great. We're working a lot of stuff off stream. We got a sponsorship opportunity with Javi Coffee. Shout out to them because of the idiocracy of their agreement towards it. This is awful because no one's gonna want to sponsor me anymore. I was asked to promote the product, and in return they would send me free product. And I said I would love that, but I only accept promotional stuff like that if I can get behind the product itself. So I need to try it first. So if you're willing to send it, blah blah blah. They're like, oh yeah, great. We'll send you the stuff. You can promote it. Here's the agreement. And I read over the whole agreement, and the agreement states that if I want to have the free product, I have to agree before I get it that in 2 weeks' time afterwards, I have to promote it right away. And in my eyes, if I get it and I've already agreed to promote it, and I try it and it's absolutely dog shit, what do I do? And so I respectfully declined, and I said, hey, listen, this is the deal. I haven't even tried this yet. I hadn't even heard of your company prior to this. I love coffee. Hey, I fucking love coffee. Love coffee. But if you want me to promote your product for you, you got to trust in your product first enough to send me the stuff, you know? Like, I'm happy to agree to do this as long as I know I like it, you know? Send me just like a sample, just a small sample. If I like it, I can be like, hell yeah. Hell, because I'm the one pushing the product. I'm the one who's going to push it to my viewers. You guys. And I don't feel comfortable doing that if I've never tried it myself. But anyway, that was just a funny little occurrence that happened this past week. And I was just like, that doesn't make any sense, but okay. Moving on. Funny thing happened this past week. I think it was on Friday. No, maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. Yeah, it was Monday. Yesterday, because it's Tuesday right now. My chat found the juice bar used to own its Facebook page. I totally forgot it existed. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I totally forgot it existed, and I had a cringe fest. We watched some videos. We looked at some old photos from that time. It made me cringe really hard, and I was trying to figure out why it was making me cringe so bad. And I think it was because no, I know what it is. It's the fact that like that's a whole other side of myself. You know, that's before I really found who I was. It was before I've had a couple hard life lessons. It was before I met my wife and I got married, and a lot had changed, you know? And so like it's weird seeing that side of me. And it's weird hearing the way I talk and the way I react to things and stuff. Because it's you, but it's not you. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it was just really cringy to watch, and everyone was laughing and stuff. But you know, it's how it is. But man, alive, I couldn't believe someone found it, and it was a cringe fest for sure. It was an absolute cringe fest. But anyway, moving on. Sadly, our good friend Brom was not able to make it this week. So he'll be in the next guest that we have. But his stand-in was placed. Someone who was going to be where Brom's going to be 2 weeks from now, but has moved up since Brom needed the week off. Therefore, without further ado, I have a very special guest, one that I look up to, one that I look forward to speaking to, and one that I'm excited for you guys to have some nice conversations to lighten up your earlobes with. We have Shaking Tugboat, the tug of the boat. How you doing, friend?
Hello, the apple of the man. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, dude. Thank you for saying yes, and thank you for moving up the time and being on with me. I'm really excited for today's conversation. I'm really excited to have you on. You've been a huge support of the channel for like a while, so it's really nice to have you on. Guys, if you haven't already checked out any of the guests, always check the description down below or the information within the podcast to check out our guests and check them out. Tug, tell me about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you like, what shakes your boat.
What goes on?
Yeah.
What gets the boat going?
Yeah, absolutely. What gets the motor running?
Yeah. So I'm basically just a musician. I grew up playing a lot of different forms of music in a room. I didn't really have too many friends. It was always, I would sit down with an instrument and just lose track of time. And I ended up that I was working at a lot of labor jobs, and my brother was like, hey, you should go into music again and start streaming it. So I basically started putting a load of time into Twitch and just started streaming music every day, basically. And I could only stream music, so couldn't really do the games that I wanted to, but just got a capture card. So I've been streaming Switch games. So I know words.
I cannot express to you enough. Me and a few other people have gone in great lengths to talk about both Sindrig and Crimson specifically about earlier in your Twitch career, how often you would stream, because it was like every day and it'd be so long. And yep. I respect you so much because it was constant music every day for like 6 to 8 hours every day. And I was just
chair. Yeah.
on a wood fucking guys, on a wood chair. This
Yeah.
man would sit on a wood chair for 6 to 8 hours. I have a cushioned seat, and my ass still hurts. Okay,
I
like
couldn't put
power
a
to
cushion
you.
because my back, because as soon as you
Yeah.
would like, it would be wobbly, my back would start to hurt.
Oh my
So
god.
it was like,
Power
what would
to
you
you.
rather? You know?
I seriously though, like it was. You should be very proud of yourself. But no, I honestly, before my streams and now with the morning streams after my streams, one of my favorite things to do is just to throw you up while I'm eating and lurking and doing my shit, and then of course working afterwards. But it's always a good time, especially now with now that you're playing games. You just it's cool. You got all this nice
No,
gear now too. You fucking your face looks so beautiful. Oh
yeah, I
my
saved
god.
up for a long time, and
Absolutely.
actually to talk about that, like I gave up liquor and cigarettes about 3 years ago. I quit it on the same day, and the amount of money that I saved just not spending it on liquor and cigarettes is amazing.
Oh
And
yeah.
like as like the joke goes that Tug's gonna go eat his chicken nuggets at the end of the night. Like I don't spend my money a lot, like
Yeah.
I spend my money where I'm either supporting people that I like or on things for a better stream.
Yeah.
And as a content creator, I think it's one of the big pushes that you wanted to do.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
like you're doing as well. Like if you want to make this a career on Twitch, it's not that you can't do it, but you need to put time and effort into it. And I didn't have a community when I started on Twitch. Like a lot of people hang out on Twitch for 2 to 3 years before they start streaming. And
Yeah.
for me, I was just like, I'm going to start. So
I was the same way. Yeah.
and the commitment of how much time and energy I had to put in was, doing those 6 to 8 hour streams every day. But again, it's how much energy you're willing to put in. And I, in the 8 months that I've done, I've seen a giant growth. So
Absolutely. No, it's been awesome, man. I'm really proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself. You've been doing some good shit. Um, no, I agree with that. Like same with I think I talked about this on my stream the other day, but a couple months ago, I think it was like in October, Joy and I quit vaping altogether. I've been addicted to nicotine for a couple years, and I was just like, one, it's expensive. I mean, it's not as expensive as cigarettes, but like it's still pretty fucking expensive if you take it just consideration. Um, and I did it just for my health because I love to sing. So I was just like, I know this isn't like it wasn't affecting me that much, but like I could tell that it made my my lung capacity a lot smaller.
yeah, definitely diminish. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was for health and also for money. And I did I just did cold turkey, and Joy and I haven't gone back to it. But money wise, same. And then of course, like it's just like college. Like when you're going through college and you ramen.
You ramen it out.
Just like
That's
fucking
exactly
yeah.
it.
Because
Yeah.
Joy and I we fucking buy everything in bulk. So like we have a chest freezer. We only have a mini fridge because we live in a studio apartment, so it's like really fucking small. So all of our vegetables, all of our stuff are either potatoes, radishes, canned beets, or like frozen vegetables. And so we would do all of that. We get a bunch of like raw meat when it's on sale, and then we'll like cook it all up and then put it in freezer bags and freeze it, so that way we can like meal prep because it's the cheapest thing to do. And then we have just a shit ton of fucking ramen, and that's what we have most days, and canned soup. But like it's just easier that way, and then you save so much more money because like I would love to go out and get like pizza and stuff like that, but like I know that later on down the road, whenever I'm more comfortable, I'll be able to treat myself more.
And it'll be worth it too because you've worked so far for it.
Exactly.
And it's not that having everything when you want it isn't like it's good to have, but at the same point, like again, you're gonna look back and say like, how far have I came and now I can do all this.
Exactly.
And with food especially is something that you like. Yeah, one day, it's gonna be nice to just pig out and do everything. But for the time being, life is it's tough, but I think it's about time and energy in.
Life is a highway. I want to ride it all night long.
I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna ride that highway.
Well, and that's the thing. You should still be able to treat yourself, and I think that's a big thing. Is a lot of people will do that. That are like, all right, we're gonna buckle down. We're gonna do this thing, and then they'll treat themselves once, and then it just like it's that ease. It's like, oh shit, that's so easy. And you get home from a hard day, and it's just like I could just order a pizza right now. But it's like, it's. Once you buckle down, like you get to see all the savings, you get to see all this stuff, and It's nice.
Well, and you should take a win. Like I think there are times where if you're going through a hard time or the day,
Oh,
it's good
fuck
to
yeah.
have a little thing for yourself. But like
100%.
saving is a good idea, and just having an idea towards what you want to do.
100%. No, I agree with you thoroughly. What is it? So you're a musician, as we've
Yeah.
discussed. Something that I wanted to talk to you about today, which I thought would be a really interesting conversation, given your experience and knowledge within music, and then my like theater background with music and stuff. I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about how music genre, people's music tastes, kind of correlate with not only their personality and how they were brought up, but also based on like regionality, like where you live. Because I think it is one, it's an interesting thing to talk about because everyone has such a vast music taste, and it's one of those things where even if you like know someone really well, you're like, oh, what kind of music you listen to? It always surprises me every single time. So it's I think it's a really cool thing to talk about, like one, how you were brought up, and then also hearing what your music tastes are. So like I'm a big fan of like everything except for like modern country, some modern pop, and then extreme like metal.
Yeah.
But everything else I like, but specifically the two genres that I gravitate more towards, the ones that like I listen to over everything else, is jazz and folk music. Those two are the ones that I listen to the most of. And what about you?
Actually, we alternate a lot. Like from where yours is jazz, I don't really listen to any jazz, and for folk wise, I do love folk. But I would say that mine actually lies more in blues and alternative music.
Yes. See, that's a
But
close like third and fourth for me.
yeah, and I've had switches though, because I was brought up in classical music because my grandma was a classical piano player, so I grew up playing Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, a lot of just classical, and I wasn't really allowed to listen to any rock music until I was probably 13 or 14 because we were very religious. So
Yeah.
we weren't. It was always like country music was basically the only thing, and like Shania Twain for hours on end.
Yeah. No, I get that. I see, like for me, back when I was younger, it was like 80s, 70s, 80s rock and like Christian music, of course, because of like my background. And then a lot of like pop music, because I was like really into pop music when I was younger. And then like then your tastes start to develop, because like, and then in like middle school / high school for me, it was a lot of like punk rock. So like a Blink 182, Fall Out Boy,
Oh, yeah.
fucking Ludo. That was a big one for me. Just like those types of things, like Smash Mouth, like those were big for me, like in middle school and high school. But now I listen to those and they feel nostalgic for me. But now it's kind of like more refined. And it's just how you grow up. It's like it, and I think that's just such an interesting thing that happens because like we all have our own tastes and everything, but I always find it interesting with music because it does have a huge it solely bases a lot on how you were brought up and the things you experience when you're younger, especially with people who you're around, because I think oh, sorry.
I'm so sorry.
No, you go.
No, I feel the same. Like ABBA was the biggest song, like band that brought me out of classical music and just exposed me to the world, basically.
Yeah.
And just from the genres of what was funk, just so many different genres popped out from that.
Oh, 100%. There's so many good ones. No, what all I was gonna say to add to it was and I like with that period of time in middle school and high school where I listened to a lot of like punk rock and alternative. I owe a lot of that to like JP, like my mod Java Palette. He went to public school and I was homeschooled, so like most of my music came from like Kids Bop and fucking Toby Mac and Skillet and stuff like that, like Christian rock bands and stuff like that. That was the extent of it. And so like he showed me bands that I would have never heard about because I was solely at home, I didn't have anybody to introduce me to that. And so he was the one who introduced me to a lot of those bands like Panic at the Disco and stuff like that. And that really opened my eyes to a bunch of things. And then that's when like streaming music became more popular, where you could like listen to stuff. And like on iTunes, I went into like how I got into jazz was Frank Sinatra was big for me. I really liked his stuff, and then Michael Bublé was also a big one because that was like the mixture between pop and jazz. So it was a
Yeah, the
nice
Bubble
like
Man.
yeah,
He's
it was
awesome.
it was
Yeah.
a nice transition in. And then I was like, okay, he's not he's good, but he's not as good as like you know, um Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra and stuff like that. So that's when I started moving towards more of like the old jazz and blues and like soul, and I was just like, okay, this is good. um but it's just super interesting how um just one person or like one group or one part in your life can just change all of that or experience. Because like, of course, if I had listened to it later on in life, I most likely would have been where I am now with the same like the tastes. But it's just interesting how that moved along more quickly because of JP.
Well, yeah, and when you have friends that are around you that have different musical tastes, it definitely does expose you to different things. And like even in a band, right? Like I've been in a lot of different band settings where the 5 or 6 people that I've been around, all of us have an insanely different taste in music, but
Yeah.
you all come together. You all come together somehow and create that one sound, or you find that one tune that you all kind of bop to.
Yeah. It's so awesome.
But I think off the bat too, like when you go into a genre, you always dip your toe in, and the more that you get into it, the more that you find really what defines that genre and the people that are like kind of the heads of that genre, like
Oh
Frank
yeah,
Sinatra, so to speak.
absolutely. And that's the thing. There's so many sub genres off of genres that it's more likely than not you're gonna find at least one band that falls under that blanket genre of music that you're gonna like, even though you don't like the mainstream people. You know, because like old country, like um, Johnny Cash and Elvis, I love that type of music. And I like bluegrass and I like folk music and stuff like that. I love a good banjo, or
Yeah.
mandolin. But then like modern country, which has its similarities, I don't like, And so it's just interesting because a lot of the instruments are the same, a lot of the progressions are the same, a lot of the same sounds are the same, but it's not completely the same. And then there's differentiations between um the music used and then the lyrics, because a lot of different genres have more elaborate lyrics, and then also it depends on the band too. So it's like this giant web of amazingness, and you never know what you're gonna find. So dip your feet in all of it, as Tug would say.
Well, yeah, and like I don't think you should stay within a set genre or something. And if you like versions of a certain song, look up covers of it too, because there are a lot of
Mm.
times a cover that's done in metal or whatever, and then it's done in a pop version, and it's just such a contracting between what it was and what it is. And sometimes your brain, just between liking the cover, actually does start to follow between that genre afterwards, and that is really cool too.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. So in the same regard to how you're brought up, I think with music specifically, a lot of it another big portion of how you were raised and how what genres of music you started off with as a kid heavily lays on like your region as well. Because like I grew up in like Pennsylvania, so we have a very like country heavy feel to the entire region. It's a lot of like country music, a lot of Christian music. We have a lot of like rock, of course, but like it's mostly country heavy, unless you're in like the city areas. And I just always think that's interesting because like a lot of um places specifically will have like a hub for every type of genre, and like culturally that state or that city or has like everything, like you'll find every nook and cranny of type of like music and culture there. which I always find fascinating. Like when I lived in Florida, I'll give Florida this. It's the swinging dick of the U.S. But culturally, there's so many different types of people down there that, of course, there's a lot of like Latin and South American like culture and like feel and vibe down there. They're more heavy in that, but there's also so many other types of people down there that have so many different types of music, and because of how big that area is and a lot of people moving there for retirement and stuff like that, you get so many different types of people. And whenever I would go to like Orlando or something like that, you'd find every type of person on earth, which I always thought was interesting. But like those are like few and in between. Like there's a lot of places that have everything, but then depending on what state you're in, to country, there's normally a more overlaying genre that's heavy there.
Like a regional vibe. Yeah,
exactly. What in because you're from the big old Canada, eh?
I'm from Canada. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
the place that snows all the time.
What because I know predominantly language there is French, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, so, we do have a large French population. We do have a large Ukrainian population. We have a large. I was mostly in the farming, so it was just Ukrainian, French, and I think that was mostly it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But there is a giant difference because, like you said before, when you're in small towns, there is a ideology of the music that is accepted there, and because the English people and the French people in the town there were at differences because of the farming communities themselves, because they were already competing. So you would have folk French music, which was a large part of the farm vibes, where the English side was mostly reliant on pop country. But again, I actually ended up moving to a city when I was in my later 20s, and like you said before, there was so many different people here, and we have an international airport here. That the amount of different forms of music and the genres were more accepting rather than the small towns, because you can have little small town bands, but it's mostly that they actually go to the hub cities to get their format of anything,
Yeah. It's crazy how that works. And it's crazy to see like how different a place can be solely just based off of like here in Pennsylvania, like there's towns everywhere. So like you like drive 30 minutes, you'll find a whole different kind of area than, but I always find it super interesting how like, depending on the area you live in, you can find some pretty crazy stuff. The same goes for food, to be honest, as well. I mean, because here we're very heavily like Pennsylvania Dutch, so there's a very like high German heritage, and also like Dutch, and then as well as like a lot of Mennonites and stuff like that around this area, and Amish. So like we have a very like coleslaw, sauerkraut, like corned beef, like that kind of stuff. Like we have so much of that here, like potato salad and deviled eggs and that kind of thing. Whereas if you go to like New York, you'll get a lot of like a whole different field of things, and it's just based off of state and stuff. I've never had poutine. How is poutine?
Yeah, so poutine. It's so if you talk to an English person from Canada, they'll say poutine. Okay. But if you talk to a French person, they call it poutine.
Poutine?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's pretty good. I mean, you take your frites, your fries, you lay them in there, all crispy like. You take your squeaky cheese or your cheese curds, and you put that on there, and then you put your gravy, and that's kind of your whole thing of poutine right there.
Cheese curds are amazing.
They're really good stuff. But if you want to make a classic poutine, you need cheese curds because of the squeaky cheese.
Is that what you guys call cheese curds?
Yeah, squeaky cheese. Yeah, it's because when you bite into it, it squeaks.
Yeah, I love that. Squeaky cheese.
There's a lot of different like regional foods and stuff over here. Like we do the maple syrup on the snow. We do that quite often in the winter times. La cabane à sucre is what it's called, the sugar cabin. And then we actually have a really interesting a type of drink here that really got me involved in the French spirit. It's called sortilège, and it's actually a whiskey and maple syrup, and it's
Ooh.
a delicacy.
Is it a
really
specific type of whiskey?
I cannot remember, but it's really good.
And it's just mixed with maple syrup.
Yeah, so in the morning when you're eating waffles, you can get drunk. So it's kind of fun.
It's like an Irish coffee. Let's go. Man. So there's so many different, like, I appreciate how diverse every place is. You know, like everywhere you visit, you're gonna find something new and like their own like delicacies, like you're saying, and like so many different things. And it's the same with music. Like whenever I go to like a different place, there's always like, you know, open mic nights and at certain bars, and they're like, oh, this band, local band, it's a folk band, or like, oh, this is the alternative band or alternative funk or something like that. And you're like, fuck, I'm gonna go listen to that. That sounds awesome, you know? And I just think it's so interesting how no matter where you go, you're gonna find something like new and something cool. And I feel like that an overlaying thing, and this is me going off on a derail.
I love it. Don't change.
But I feel like people who travel and people who go out and step out of their comfort zone to go do stuff like that, they're gonna be more willing to accept different things and change, because like
definitely
if you're it's like a picky eater, you know, going back to the food thing. If you're a picky eater, you're not like, oh, I want chicken. I don't really want to try fish. Like you know, like, it's okay not to like fish, but like if you've only tried it once or a few times and you're just like, and it was just like pan fried stuff or stuff like that, or fish sticks or whatnot, like try some like smoked salmon.
Yeah, put some raw fish in your mouth. Do
some sushi. You never know.
It's great.
So many times you hear like, oh, I've never.
Sushi.
Yeah, oh, sushi's so good. But like that's the thing. You hear so many times of people being like, oh, I hate sushi, and you're like, have you tried it? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, then how the fuck do you know? They're like, oh, I don't like fish, and I'm like, well, this is raw fish. It tastes completely different, like completely. You know, it's just such an interesting thing. I feel like you were saying with genres of music, you got to dip your toes in, and you got to like not just dip your toes in and be done. You got to like try a bunch of different things. Go around the pool. Go walk around the pool and dip your toe multiple times in different areas, just so you can try.
Judge the pool until you're done, right? Like I feel a lot of people when they try something, and this ties between food and music, is they try something for the first time and they're like, I don't like it. But then the definition of why they don't like it was that one experience, when in reality, there's so many different versions of that one experience within music or whatever, because every genre or every different food has a different version of it. Or even the cook, you know, did they cook it right that time?
Well, that's the thing. Is the band bad or is the chef bad? You have no idea. This is the first time you tried it. You know, try it again. And I like the perfect example of this. What you're saying is, the first time I've heard rap music, was Eminem, and I wasn't a fan. I like him now, but when I first heard him, I was like, I don't like this. I was like, I'm not a huge fan. Now, Childish Gambino, you know, like, fuck, I'm this is awful because I'm being like, oh yeah, I listen to rap music, but now I can't even think of the 4 main artists that I listen to. Childish Gambino, fuck, no, Hobo Johnson, Childish Gambino. This isn't really like, it's old style rap, but Beastie Boys is huge for me because they got a lot of like funk to their music, and I really like funk. Like even Ed Sheeran has his own like style of rap. It's more like spoken word poetry for me, but like it is still a form of rap, you know. And like I have a lot of I like that genre a lot more now, you know. And it's because I try listening to other things. And there's, especially with that genre in particular, there's so many different types of artists in that, you know? And there's so many different versions of that, like being able to rap and all that goes along with that, the beats and the sounds that you can use. And
Well, the rudiments, and some people can't sing compared to others. So it's what
Yeah,
form of rap are they used to, or a lot of them use the same writing style. So that's why
exactly.
they are known for that form of rap. And yeah, it's mouth drumming is what it
Yeah,
is. And then you're
it's
using
awesome.
scales to pitch. It's really, really interesting.
Rhythm
And
and words.
it, the people, like the two people that got me into rap was Tech Nine and a guy named Chris Calico.
Okay.
And Tech Nine was an amazing lyricist. His rapping is very fast. I really like speed rap because
Hmm.
I have dyslexia a little bit, so I went into rap because I wanted to learn how to talk faster. And I was like, how are these people able to talk without like jumping on their words all the time? Because I was really bad at it when I was learning English.
Yeah.
And I found that rap was a perfect format of learning English at a fast pace and being able to understand rudiment. And there was two forms of it. So Tech Nine himself, he isn't a good singer. It's not his format, but his friend Chris Calico is a very, very good singer, but wasn't really good at rap. So it was cool to see two people that had two different styles be within the same band and kind of like filter off of each other.
Yeah.
Because again, it's two different forms of rap, right? But both
Exactly.
have to be working together to be able to hive it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I realized how wide I sounded when I was talking about that whole topic, but it's it's such a cool genre. And at first, just because like I had only heard Eminem and people, because when you were in middle school, at least for me, where I lived, like when what is that Rap God came out. Oh my god! Everyone was just like, "Oh my god, have you heard this song?" Because he raps so fast. It's a great song, and I now I can appreciate how incredibly hard it is to do that. You know, and like he did a good job. And I like a lot of his music, not all of it, of course, because like there's ones I like more than others. But that was like the only thing I listened to. I was like, I'm not a fan, and I would just say like, I don't really like rap. But I had never listened to anything other than that. I didn't know that there was more to it because I hadn't tried, you know?
Oh,
Um,
definitely. And even if you think you understand something fully, you don't. That's the
oh,
fun part of
100%.
life. There's things under rocks that you would never know unless you ask the question.
How many
You know,
times, this goes for you and I, on stream or in other people's chats, do we learn something new every day?
all the time, every
All the
single stream.
fucking time. It's insane because everybody has so much knowledge and they'll just say something. You're like, what the? I never knew that. What the hell? Oh, it's so great. That was one of the biggest perks of streaming, in my opinion,
Definitely.
is the knowledge that you pick up because you're talking to people from all over the world. You're gonna learn
International
things.
knowledge.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Exactly. And it's not only from a region like we're talking about, it's from those giant pools of people. And
Yeah.
it's so cool to be able to have an instant communication with people around the world and see the cultural differences instantly. It's nuts.
Yeah. It's I love it. Again, like I said, I think it's one of my favorite things that comes along with streaming because it's such like every day I learn something new and then Joy gets home and I'm just like, hey, did you know this? And she's like, oh shit, oh shit. Going back to food because I had a question about like some of the stuff that you have over in Canada. I know
Yeah.
you've talked about this on your podcast, which I want to definitely put in the description below. Guys, go check it out.
No worries.
Canadian bacon. I know you
Yes.
said there was like the whole argument and stuff like that. I want to know your opinion. I want to talk about it because I don't understand why there's such a big deal that goes around it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
No, I totally get you. I'm here
as a
to
Canadian,
clear the air.
yes, as a
on the
Canadian,
bacon. Yes.
explain what it is. Explain your viewpoints. I want to hear it.
Okay, so in Canada, we have a cut that's known as back bacon. And back bacon itself is a cut that we used a lot just because of, I'm pretty sure anyway, it was a cut that we did in Canada. And when a cut of meat was brought to New York, they decided to make the cut of meat, the back bacon, and they named it Canadian bacon. But what happened is through the years of marketing, through corporations like pizza joints, basically, and that's where we're ripping on most of these pizza joints. What they do is instead of giving you back bacon, they're giving you ham, and then they're frying it, and then they're calling it Canadian bacon as a way to upsell that product. So one thing that I dislike as a Canadian is as soon as someone is like, I don't like Canadian bacon, well, the first thing I'm saying is like, oh yeah, it's back bacon, but we don't call it Canadian bacon because it's not it's not known as like a Canada thing. It's just something that was given, like it was
The
given
name.
to. So
Yeah. See, thank you for clearing that up. And to anyone who probably didn't know that, we're learning something today, just like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Food.
Growing up here in America, whenever you hear Canadian bacon, people are just like, "Oh, it's just ham." That's what we hear every single time someone brings it up. They're just like, "Oh, it's just ham." Canadian bacon is just ham. It's not. That's the thing. And then to hear your explanation, it makes a lot of sense. And especially because here in America, we fucking upsell everything. God damn it, dude! I was thinking about this the other day. I have a full like movable like skeleton that like has like joints and stuff that you can like snap into place and stuff. At my parents' house in storage that I named Charles. I worked at Michael's, this craft store, and I bought him. He was $90 normally. Okay. I got him for 95% off with the clearance sale with my markdown for being an employee. It turned out to be 95% off, and it was I think it was $5 or something like that. And I can't, it was probably cheaper than that. I don't remember. But when you scan it with your little scanner thing, it tells you how much it costs like to make it and like everything. Like what is the price, like what is the base unit price? And it's like $3. It costs them $3 to make, and they charge 90. That is an insane markup. That markup is insane. That is so large. Do you know what I'm saying? Like 100% markup is $30, and it's 3 times. That's a 300%. That is insane, dude. It's just one of those things where you think about it and you're like, God damn, that is a lot. That's a lot. Also, I think my math was off on that completely, but it's fine.
You're good, no worries.
But it's just one of those things where you think about it, you're like, that makes sense, but also like, God damn. You think about all the other stuff that's probably like extremely overpriced that we're paying for, you know? But
yeah. There's always those points, right?
Yeah. But no, thank you for explaining the Canadian bacon, because I think a lot of people here still think it's just ham.
Well, and that's one reason that like me and Doc talked for 2.5 hours about this one conversation. I've never talked about one conversation for 2.5 hours. But basically, it's a form of upselling a product and making it so it's a regional thing, so it sells as like, ooh, this is from. And the funniest part is that there's a lot of meats that if they're from Europe, they'll actually give the proper pronunciation of the meats. And that's why I was so angry, is they'll take the time to be like, not like Italian sausage, they're like prosciutto. and then for Canada, it's Canadian bacon, and it's just forms of ham, and it's all different. And there's never any like consistency. So it's the one thing, it's like, come on.
It makes you wonder if it's just because Canada and America are so close together that they can get away with that. Because like with other things where you actually have to get it from other places, like it can't really like change much about it because it has to be, you know. So I wonder if there's like a law or something. I have no idea. It's just one of those weird behind the scene things that a lot of people don't think about, and I think that's why at least for a good portion of like high school and stuff, I thought Canadian bacon was literally just ham. It was just what you guys called it, and I think it was just because like you don't think about that stuff. You just hear what you're told and you believe it because it's what you've been told. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and it's just I run into a lot of Americans, so it's something that I hear often. So if you want to experience what it is, go get back bacon, and it is expensive. It's probably one of the most expensive types of cut, but that is what the true Canadian bacon is.
I'll have to go to our local butcher and try it.
That's strips. And it was weird because out of the amount of money that you spend on meat, it was actually the most expensive meat on your pizza, and it's always listed as the worst, which is weird.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. So interesting. Cooking and food and stuff like that. It's just so cool. Do you guys have potlucks? Do you know what those are?
Oh yeah, we have lots of potlucks here.
I think it's an Eastern thing. Like, well, I guess you're not even Eastern.
Canada gets every like where I'm at. We have honestly everything. Like I'm in a major hub city right now, and I've moved a lot,
Mm.
so I've experienced just basically lots of different forms of culture.
Yeah.
And Canada actually gets a lot of Americans that move here, so I do know a lot about America as well. So.
Interesting. Yeah, because a lot of the friends that I have who are like in Mountain Standard or Central US or Pacific don't know what potlucks are. And so it's always
Oh,
interesting to
really?
yeah, and so it's super interesting to hear people if they've heard about it or not, because that's such a big thing here. Have you heard of rock soup? Do you do rock soup?
No.
So it's literally like it's like potluck where everyone comes and they bring something, and it's a meal. But with this one, whoever's hosting has a giant fucking pot. Like I'm talking like, fucking I don't know, like 8 gallons, like a big fucking tub.
Like a beat a home intruder pot. I get
Exactly,
you.
exactly. And we put it over a fire, or if you have a big fucking range in your kitchen, you can do it as well. But you put a rock in there from your yard, like or from your like property. You put a rock, a nice one. You clean it off. You put it in the bottom of the pot. Okay, fill it with water, and everybody brings an ingredient. So some people bring carrots, some people bring celery, some people bring potatoes. Some like everyone brings something, and you all add it to the pot. You do your spices, your seasonings, and stuff like that, and you just make a big fucking soup, and then everyone eats it. That's literally rock soup. Like that's what it's so dumb, but like it's kind of like everyone comes, you bring you just make a yeah you just make a you make a soup. You make a soup, and the rock I guess is just good luck. I don't know. But I remember doing that as a kid, and then potlucks, of course, like everyone, dude. Have you had buffalo wing dip?
I don't I don't know, maybe.
So it's literally just rotisserie chicken shredded up, sour cream, cream cheese, red hots, and then a shit ton of fucking like mozzarella and cheddar. And
I've never had that. That sounds so good.
You just dip tortilla chips in it. Oh my god, it's like here in PA, every single fucking party and every single potluck or reunion or stuff always has buffalo wing dip. Like it's like an icon. Like someone always brings dip that they make, and it's so good. It tastes like buffalo wings. That's literally what it tastes like, and you're just dipping your fucking chips into it. Oh my god, so good, so good. It's a staple. I don't know why it is. Just like growing up, because my family's very German heavy, and so we corned beef, sauerkraut with hot dogs, bratwursts, potato salad. Like that was growing up. That's what we would have every single time we'd get together. And pierogies. Oh, pierogies are delicious. You had a pierogi?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, so a place in Canada here, where I'm from in Alberta, we're known for a giant pierogi. We have the world's largest pierogi.
You can just buy it?
No, it's a statue. It's a fork that holds up the biggest pierogi in the world.
What the fuck? Yeah. I love that. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a place called Glendon, Alberta.
Glendon, Alberta, the giant fucking pierogi. I love that.
Is it Glendon? All right, I'll have to find that out. I can't remember the town, but yeah, there's a giant pierogi here.
That's so cool. Who doesn't like a giant fucking pierogi, dude? There's so many places that like their main thing is like we're gonna have the biggest fucking thing possible. Like, and the same thing with like at New Year's, like every town and stuff. At least here in America, we do like how like the New York does the apple dropping for the Big Apple for like New Year's.
Yeah.
Every town around here, they drop something. So like when I lived in Mechanicsburg, they dropped a giant wrench because it was Mechanicsburg. Dillsburg,
I just imagine like a plane just dropping a wrench on the people.
Giant fucking wrench.
You're welcome.
Everybody in your house, it's coming. And it's the same with Dillsburg. They do a giant pickle, so like nice. Every place does something, and it's just super interesting because like I always like Joy and we always wanted to get a van and just drive over Pennsylvania and stop at every single town, even the small ones, and see what the town is known for, because every place has its like icon, it has its thing, and it'd be so interesting just to document like every single town in PA and and what it does and what they have. Because like something like, oh yeah, we have the world's largest pizza, and you can buy it and you can share with your friends, and it's like $120, but it has like 600 slices, like something like that, or like there's just always like the world's largest hot dog, and so it's just so funny to me, because a lot of places have like most haunted museum, or they have a
There's always
museum
that
on
gimmick.
something random,
Yeah.
like every
Yeah.
place has
Yeah.
something, and I just think it's so interesting. I love it. This doesn't, well, I guess it kind of docks me, but I'm moving, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
My town that I live in currently, their whole thing is Jimmy Stewart, the actor who from fuck, I don't even remember the name. I don't even remember the name of the movie. Everyone's gonna hate me now. It's Jimmy Stewart. He's Jimmy Stewart. He talks like that. He's an older actor from way back in the day. Miracle on 42nd Street or whatever.
Yeah, I know who this is. I just looked
up. He went to school at the college that's here, and so the entire town, like the when you're on the main street here in town, when you're doing the crosswalk, when you push the button to like tell them that you need to go so the lights change and stuff, it's Jimmy Stewart impersonator who's on there, and he goes, "This is Jimmy Stewart on Philadelphia walk sign telling you to have a great day." Like, it's so funny. And they have a statue of him, and they have a museum for him, and you're just like,
that's commitment.
Yeah, dude. It's like, you're like, what the fuck?
Like Mothman. I love that shit.
Dude,
I love that town so much.
I want to visit. I would 100%. I would love to go visit that. What's funny is also in Pennsylvania, there was a guy who literally kayaked out to a broken down bridge that's in one of the big rivers here in PA, and built a paper mache Statue of Liberty replica on that tower post and put it there. And people were like driving down the highway along the river and was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like, it was like, it's a fucking Statue of Liberty. What the hell is it? You can look it up. It's really funny to look at. But
like, did he make it there? Because that's patience making.
I think he made it in pieces and took the pieces out and built it out there. That's what I think he did. There's a whole article and thing about it, but he did that, and then later on down the road, because of like weather conditions and stuff, they went and they actually put like a solidified update to it and like made it like a nice one. And it's still there. You can, like, when you're driving down the thing, there you can see it. It's just sitting out there. He kayaked out with the thing and put it. And I think that's the funniest thing. And now it's like an icon of Pennsylvania. When you're driving down the main highway, Old 15, you can see it. And it's just
commitment to a bit.
Right? It's perfect. It's beautiful. That kind of stuff makes me so happy. I love it. Do you have any around where you live?
Let's see. Not that I can think of. No, to be honest with you.
Besides the giant pierogi.
Yeah, besides the giant freaking food-like items on giant tools for some reason. Yeah. No, I think the only thing that we had here for just random things was the monolith a while ago, when the monolith things
did you have one?
Big. We had 3 of them in different places. We had them in one of the major cities. We had them on the outskirts of a town, and then we had them in the north, in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Interesting.
But the one lore was my hometown got moved. I think I've talked about it sometimes on stream, but
yeah, I think you were mentioning that today. But tell me, I want to hear about this.
Yeah, so like we had the it was called Spooky Canada. Like, it was like the horror creepy network kind of deal that came to like talk to us about the town, because they went looking back in the records, and supposedly this town was in the middle of the bush, and the local doctor, he was trying to help his wife, and his wife passed away, and he got into like black magic, and he basically started like murking people and eating them, and he became a Wendigo, and basically the whole town found out what he became, and then they murked him, and then they moved the town. And the original location of the town, you can hike to it, but no one really knows where it is besides finding landmarks from those houses. So
Jesus.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting little tale of where I grew up. So
interesting. It's one of those things where if when you hear about like stuff like that, like when for me, if we ever got like a time machine, I would never want to go to the future. I would never want to go to specific moments to change time. All I would want to do is go to specific moments like that and see what actually happened. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
definitely.
that
Yeah.
the Salem witch trials, I would love to see what actually happened. I would love to go back to see what the missing link to humanity was from like amphibian to like land, like that. I would love to go back and see like when the fucking meteor hit Earth, back in
Oh
like the
yeah.
prehistoric
Yeah.
times, like seeing that firsthand, or like Pompeii.
Conspiracies. I want to be there and
Oh
seeing
yeah,
the alien land in Roswell. I want to see the
exactly.
lights over the over the White House and all that stuff.
The Kennedys, that whole
Oh yeah.
thing, just being there. Like, I know, like that's a really vulgar, like not like a vulgar, but like a really sensitive topic. But like being
But
there for
knowing,
that to
yeah.
see what actually went down, because everyone was looking at him. I want to look
Written
around.
compared to
Yeah, exactly. Like
yeah.
there's certain moments like that. I wouldn't want to change history at all, because obviously that causes issues. Blah blah blah. You want to get into the whole fucking metaverse thing, but like just to be witness to specific moments that we still don't know actually what happened. Like some of the ones that I mentioned, we know what happened, but like you were saying, like going to moments where they're like, oh yeah,
Roswell.
this was
I would love to see
assumed to happen, but we don't actually know. I would love to. Same with murder cases, like going and seeing what actually happened at that time, like that they can have evidence on. Like just those little things, like it'd be super interesting to be there at that
and
time.
mine would be animals too. I would love to see past animals that existed, because like the Tasmanian tiger was one of my, like, I wanted to know what they look like.
They have video of it. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in
Like
person,
in person,
I want to see it. Yeah.
I want to see how big it is compared to me. Like, same with like a saber-toothed tiger, like alive in there, or fucking giant crocodiles, or fucking anacondas, the ones that used to, like the prehistoric ones, the turtles that were like fucking 20 feet wide.
It would scare me, but open water, like those giant like things that used to live in the water, like that's on like Jurassic Park,
Megalodon, and like those amphibian. Oh, dude,
those things are just so creepy but amazing looking. Like I would love to look in to see the giants that once were here. You know?
No, I agree with you. I think it'd be super awesome. It's so many things that would be so interesting to see firsthand.
And then the towns rep those places. This was the giant.
I was here when
giant plesiosaur.
The Loch Ness monster passed my house.
I would love to see that, because that log in the water, it made such a
be there when that photo was taken. See it for yourself,
Yeah.
Oh my God. The Bigfoot photo, fucking.
I would love it.
Oh,
yeah.
So many instances where it would be so different if you were there at that time. Oh man. This is like what we were talking about on stream today, actually, with like the whole like ghost hunting and stuff. Like a lot of the times the photos or the videos that they have listed are so short, or they're just they don't have enough substance to be like, oh, this is definitely this. It's just kind of like there,
It's people hype. I think a lot of the time people are looking to create an echo chamber for the idea that they want, and they surround themselves with others that want that as well. And a lot of like ghost hunters, it's like one person's like, they're like, what was that? Everyone just like looks around for like an hour. Like it's so funny. Yeah. I love it though.
But those types of things I love watching. Like I still entertain it. I still entertain it consistently.
That's why Phasmo is one of the biggest games.
Oh, right? That dude, oh my gosh. There's so many things over the years that have come out that you're just like, that makes sense of why it exists, and it's so popular, and I understand why, but oh my God. Because like I literally played that so much, and then I had to stop because it just became so repetitive for me. I was like, I can't do it. But I know there's still a lot of people who thoroughly enjoy it, and I love that they can, like, it's such a simplistic game, but it's fun, Um, God, man, we've talked about so much stuff today.
So much stuff,
I
yeah.
love it, man. Went from music to food to locational icons to just like what we want to do with the fucking time machine. Oh my god, what is it?
We're yes men, you know. That's what happens with
Oh
anyone
yeah,
that was in show business. We just
yes
go with
and
it, you know.
yes
You never
and
say no. You say yes and. Yeah.
yes and dude. That whenever I took some improv classes and they do that thing, man, it was. I'm assuming you like for in high
Yeah,
school
I've
and
done
stuff like that.
improv
You
class and
yeah
stuff.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It was my favorite class. Yeah.
It's so much fun, but then there's always those few people who are in it that ruin it because
Yeah.
they always go with the same fucking prompt every time where they're like mad at you or they're like, you didn't take out the garbage, and you're just like, yes, and like like they always do the same fucking shit every time. They don't do anything random. They're not like, oh, I'm gonna be a cop who just found out that his dog was stolen right from his cop car, and now it's time to go. Like you don't get that. You just get like, I'm mad at you. We're in a relationship, and I'm mad. And it's like, can you cannot come up with anything other than that? Like every time. There's always like one or two people who that's all they, and I understand like some people can't, they're not as good at being creative, but like it was always just like, so like, where do you want me to go with the story? It's the same every time.
And never say no, because then the scene just gets cut so bad. I don't know how many times I've been in scenes with people where I'm doing improv, because we used to do live improv, and you're trying to bring up a story or an idea, and then all that they say to go against you is no. And it's like, you shouldn't do that in improv because then the scene isn't going anywhere.
That's why they say yes and, because we're making it up on the spot. So if I say that my hair is purple, you just go, oh, hell yeah, mine's green. You know, you just go with it. Everything
and together we're rainbow.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. You just go off of that. A lot of the people who will who are what we're talking about right now, they'll be like the angry stereotype, but then they already have formulated in their mind how they want the scene to go. So when you don't follow what they have in their mind, they're like, no, and then you're like, but the scene hasn't been made. We're making this up.
And like, I think as you're doing it, like the forms of humor you said, some people don't have it within the moment. And I think people that are looking towards what is funny next, it's hard to be within improv because you're not being within that moment of flowing with the humor.
Yeah. If you're trying to plan it out, I think that's what differentiates a lot of people from stand up and also Twitch compared to like YouTube, because like YouTube, you can plan things out. You can write stuff, and if it's still funny, it's still humor. You're still really good at like being creative, but you need that structure. It's easier for some people to like sit down, write an hilarious fucking skit, and then perform it, rather than people who can just like keep going on their tip of the toes, you know, and doing definitely. That. Some people are great at both, which I fucking hate them.
Colin Mockery was actually a huge part of my life, and he is a giant improv in Canada, and he's probably one of the best improvs I could ever recommend.
What was his name?
Colin Mockery.
I know Colin Mockery. Holy shit!
Whose line is it anywaes? Yeah.
Oh wait, I fucking knew that, dude. He's so good.
He's a really, really good improv actor to look forward to, like look up to. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Whose Line Is It Anyway? I grew up on. I love that fucking show. So good.
That was the life of what I feel that a good improv is. It's not about the show itself. Like, it wasn't about the points. It was about creating that moment of being within what was funny, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%. And everyone there were friends, which was the great part. Because the way that they treated everybody, like the way they treated each other, especially Colin and what's his name? The tall guy. Shit. You know who I'm talking about, right? The really tall guy. They were such close friends that they just gave each other shit constantly, and that made it
Ryan
more
Stiles.
funny. Yes, exactly. Ryan, that was his name, Ryan, right?
Ryan Stiles, yeah.
Yes. They just gave each other shit so much, which made it felt more real, because like the chemistry was just perfect between them all the time.
Drew Carey was trying to be the host all the time, and then they would jump over him.
Oh yeah, so good.
The narrative was always moving, but it was improv. It wasn't about having that structured narrative.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. It's such a good show, and now I want to watch YouTube of that shit. That's what I'm probably gonna do after this podcast. But no, Tug, thank you so fucking much for coming on. This has been amazing. I really appreciate the conversation we were having. Thank you for expressing your viewpoints, your opinions, your knowledge on these topics.
Of course.
Always a pleasure. As I do for every person who comes on, you got some time to plug yourself non-sexually. Tell the people where to find you. Tell the people a little more about yourself, what you got going on as of late. Tell the folks what they want to know.
Yeah, come hang out with the Shaking Tugboat. I'm on Twitch. That's the only place you can find me. I've got a Twitter. I've got an Instagram and a TikTok. And that's basically, I just make content. I make noises for your ears to make them happy. So that's about it.
Amen. Hell yeah, guys, go check out Tugboat on all his platforms. All of this stuff will be listed below for you to check out. Go check him out.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, thank you for saying yes. Thanks for joining in earlier than expected, and for just being so flexible. I appreciate you very, very much.
Yes,
and once again,
good sir.
Yes, Ed. Yes, and thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. But dude, without further ado, I love you and you leave you. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Eat your apples and stay funky, my dudes. I will see you all next week. Bye.